Welcome to our educational series on behavioral psychology, where today we're diving into the intriguing world of reinforcers and behavioral principles. We'll start by exploring the fundamental concepts of unconditioned, conditioned, and generalized conditioned reinforcers, helping you understand how different stimuli can motivate and shape behavior without prior learning through learned associations or via broad applicability across various contexts. Then we'll classify reinforcers by their physical properties such as edible, sensory, tangible, activity, and social reinforcers, each playing unique roles in behavior modification. Additionally, we'll delve into the Premack Principle, which uses more preferred activities to reinforce less preferred behaviors, and the Response-Deprivation Hypothesis, explaining how making a behavior less accessible than its baseline can enhance its reinforcing power. By the end of this video, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of how these principles work together to influence behavior in everyday life and therapeutic settings. So, let's get started and unlock the secrets of effective behavior reinforcement. An unconditioned reinforcer is something that naturally and automatically causes a positive reaction without needing to be learned. For example, food and water are unconditioned reinforcers because they satisfy basic survival needs without prior learning. These are also called primary or unlearned reinforcers. A baby crying stops immediately upon being fed. In this case, food acts as an unconditioned reinforcer because it satisfies the baby's basic biological need for nourishment without any prior learning involved. A conditioned reinforcer, sometimes known as a secondary or learned reinforcer, is a neutral object or event that becomes reinforcing after being associated with an unconditioned reinforcer. For instance, if a bell is consistently rung before meals, the sound of the bell can become a conditioned reinforcer because it predicts food is coming. A teacher uses a system where students earn gold stars for good behavior. Initially, these stars are just pieces of paper, but when students learn, they can exchange them for extra recess time or a small toy. The stars become conditioned reinforcers because they've been paired with the unconditioned reinforcers, the playtime or toy. A generalized conditioned reinforcer is a type of conditioned reinforcer that becomes reinforcing through associations with multiple types of unconditioned or conditioned reinforcers. This type of reinforcer is effective regardless of the specific type of need or desire currently being experienced. Money is a good example because it can be used to obtain many different types of reinforcers: food, entertainment, comfort, etc. Money is a classic example of a generalized conditioned reinforcer. People learn that money can be exchanged for a wide variety of goods and services: foods, movies, clothes, and more. Hence, it is reinforcing in many different situations and doesn't depend on a particular current need. Let's look into classifying reinforcers by physical properties. There are edible, tangible, social, sensory, and activity reinforcer. Edible reinforcer, These are items like food or treats. Another example is giving a child a piece of candy after they finish their homework. Tangible reinforcer, Physical items like toys or books. Also, awarding a trophy to the winner of a competition is tangible reinforcer. Social reinforcer, Interactions with others that are rewarding, like praise or hugs. Also, coach saying, "Good job," to an athlete after a successful play is social reinforcer. Sensory reinforcer, These involve pleasing sensory experiences, such as listening to music or watching a movie. Also, allowing a student to listen to their favorite music after completing a difficult task is sensory reinforcer. Activity reinforcer, opportunities to engage in a preferred activity, such as playing a game or going for a walk. Offering a child the opportunity to play their favorite video game after completing chores is activity reinforcer. Now we will look at Premack Principle. The Premack Principle suggests that more probable behaviors, those that happen more often naturally, can reinforce less probable behaviors. For example, if a child prefers playing video games over doing homework, allowing them to play games high-frequency behavior after finishing their homework, low-frequency behavior can reinforce the homework behavior. Example, a parent tells their child, "You can play on your tablet for 30 minutes only after you've finished your dinner." Here, playing on the tablet, a high-frequency behavior, reinforces eating dinner, a less preferred, low-frequency behavior. The Response-Deprivation Hypothesis is about understanding how limiting access to a preferred activity, making it less frequent than its normal occurrence, can make access to that activity a powerful reinforcer for another behavior. For example, if a child is used to watching TV for 3 hours a day, and you reduce it to 1 hour, allowing them to earn back the additional hours by doing chores can make watching TV an effective reinforcer for doing chores. Example, if a teenager typically spends 2 hours each day on social media, but is then restricted to only 30 minutes, the opportunity to earn additional social media time by completing household tasks would be reinforcing. This is because the restriction makes the additional time more valuable than it was under normal circumstances. The Response-Deprivation Hypothesis is a concept from behavior analysis that provides a framework for understanding how certain behaviors can become reinforcing when access to them is restricted relative to their baseline levels of occurrence. This hypothesis posits that if access to a preferred activity, contingent behavior, is restricted to below its baseline level of free engagement, the opportunity to engage in that activity can function as reinforcement for performing another target behavior. Instrumental response. How response-deprivation hypothesis works. The key to the response-deprivation hypothesis is establishing a baseline rate for how frequently an individual naturally engages in a preferred activity under unrestricted condition. Once this baseline is determined, the therapist can create a situation where access to this preferred activity is less frequent than usual, hence creating a deprivation state. By linking access to this now restricted activity to the performance of a target behavior, the activity becomes a powerful reinforcer. Example and application in therapy. Suppose a child spends a significant amount of time playing video games each day, say 3 hours. The therapist, knowing that the child values this activity, sets the baseline at 3 hours. To apply the response-deprivation hypothesis, the therapist might then restrict the child's daily gaming time to 1 hour. However, the therapist informs the child that they can earn additional gaming time up to 2 more hours, returning to their baseline level by engaging in a target behavior, such as completing homework or participating in household chores. Steps for using response-deprivation hypothesis in therapy. 1. Determine the baseline. Observe and measure how much time the individual typically spends on the preferred activity without restrictions. 2. Establish restriction. Reduce the time allowed for the preferred activity to create a deprivation condition. 3. Link behavior to access. Clearly communicate to the individual that they can earn back the preferred activity time by engaging in the specified target behavior. This link should be consistent and predictable. 4. Monitor and adjust. Continuously monitor both the baseline engagement levels and the effectiveness of the reward. Adjust the required target behavior or the amount of activity time earned as necessary to maintain motivation and progress towards goals. 5. Evaluate and expand. Evaluate the effectiveness of the intervention in terms of increased target behavior. Once the target behavior becomes stable, consider applying similar strategies to other behaviors, or gradually increasing the demand on the target behavior to earn the activity time. The Response-Deprivation Hypothesis is effective because it leverages an individual's intrinsic motivation to engage in activities they naturally find rewarding. By creating a condition where the individual feels a loss of this activity, regaining access through targeted behaviors feels more rewarding and thus strengthens the occurrence of those behaviors. This approach is particularly useful in therapeutic settings, where increasing desirable behaviors or decreasing undesirable ones is a goal, such as with children exhibiting behavioral challenges in rehabilitation settings, or even with adults in behavioral health treatments. Why response-deprivation hypothesis is effective. The response-deprivation hypothesis is effective because it leverages an individual's intrinsic motivation to engage in activities they naturally find rewarding. By creating a condition where the individual feels a loss of this activity, regaining access through targeted behaviors feels more rewarding and thus strengthens the occurrence of those behaviors. This approach is particularly useful in therapeutic settings, where increasing desirable behaviors or decreasing undesirable ones is a goal, such as with children exhibiting behavioral challenges in rehabilitation settings, or even with adults in behavioral health treatments. Now, let's practice with some mock exams. Mock Exam 1. A dog trainer uses a clicker to train dogs. Initially, the clicker sound meant nothing to the dogs. But after repeatedly pairing the clicker sound with the immediate giving of treats after each click, the dogs begin to sit every time they hear the clicker, even before they see any treats. In this example, the treats function as what type of reinforcer? 1. Unconditioned reinforcer. 2. Conditioned reinforcer. 3. Neutral stimulus. 4. Generalized conditioned reinforcer. Correct answer is 1. Unconditioned reinforcer. The treats are an unconditioned reinforcer because they naturally and automatically produce a positive response. The dog's enjoyment without needing prior learning or conditioning. Mock Exam 2. In a classroom, a teacher uses gold stars as a reward system. Each time students finish their homework on time, they receive a star. At the end of the week, students can exchange their stars for extra recess time. Over the school year, students start to work harder to earn stars. In this scenario, the stars are best described as which type of reinforcer? 1. Unconditioned reinforcer. 2. Conditioned reinforcer. 3. Neutral stimulus. 4. Generalized conditioned reinforcer. Correct answer is 2. Conditioned reinforcer. The stars are conditioned reinforcers because they started as neutral. The stars themselves don't naturally cause pleasure, but became reinforcing after being paired with a desirable outcome extra recess, which is conditioned. Mock Exam 3. Money is often used to reinforce behaviors across different contexts, such as paying wages for work or giving children money for completing chores. Money can be exchanged for a variety of goods and services, making it desirable in numerous situations. In behavioral terms, money functions as what type of reinforcer? 1. Unconditioned reinforcer. 2. Conditioned reinforcer. 3. Neutral stimulus. 4. Generalized conditioned reinforcer. Correct answer is 4. Generalized conditioned reinforcer. Money is a generalized conditioned reinforcer because it has been paired with many different types of unconditioned and conditioned reinforcers: food, toys, experiences, making it reinforcing in a wide variety of situations without being tied to a specific current need or condition. Mock exam 4. In a special education classroom, a teacher notices that one of her students, Emily, completes her math worksheet faster when she is allowed to listen to her favorite music while working. The music seems to motivate Emily to work more diligently. In this scenario, the music serves as which type of reinforcer for Emily? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 2. Sensory reinforcer. The music is a sensory reinforcer because it provides auditory stimulation that Emily finds pleasant and motivating, thereby increasing her engagement and performance in her math worksheet tasks. Sensory reinforcers involve enhancing the sensory experience as a reward, such as auditory, visual, or tactile stimuli. Mock exam 5. After winning a school-wide spelling bee, Jack is awarded a trophy that he can keep on his desk. Jack feels proud every time he looks at the trophy, and it motivates him to participate in more competitions. In this example, the trophy functions as what type of reinforcer? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Activity reinforcer. Correct answer is 3. Tangible reinforcer. The trophy is a tangible reinforcer because it is a physical object that Jack can keep, which serves as a reminder of his achievement and encourages him to engage in similar behaviors. Tangible reinforcers are items that one can touch and possess, and they have inherent value to the individual receiving them. Mock exam 6. Whenever Sarah helps her younger brother with his homework, her parents praise her, telling her what a great sister she is. Sarah feels appreciated and continues to help her brother regularly. In this scenario, the parents' praise is best classified as which type of reinforcer? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Activity reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 4. Social reinforcer. The praise from Sarah's parents is a social reinforcer because it involves positive feedback and acknowledgement from others, which makes Sarah feel valued and motivated to continue the behavior. Social reinforcers typically involve interactions with others that reinforce behaviors through expressions of approval, affection, or recognition. Mock exam 7. During therapy sessions, a therapist gives a child a small piece of chocolate each time the child successfully completes a difficult task. The child starts looking forward to the sessions and engages more actively. What type of reinforcer is the chocolate? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 1. Aidable reinforcer. The chocolate is an edible reinforcer because it is a type of food that the child receives as a reward for completing tasks, which increases the likelihood of the child engaging in the desired behavior in the future. Mock Exam 8. A teacher allows students who score above 90 on their math test to play their favorite educational game for 30 minutes. This incentive motivates the students to study harder for the next tests. In this scenario, what type of reinforcer is the educational game? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Activity reinforcer. Correct answer is 4. Activity reinforcer. The educational game is an activity reinforcer because it involves allowing the students to engage in a preferred activity as a reward for their high scores, thereby encouraging them to maintain or improve their academic performance. Mock Exam 9. After completing her weekly chores, a parent allows their child to choose a new book from the bookstore. The child becomes more diligent about completing chores each week. What type of reinforcer is the new book? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 3. Tangible reinforcer. The new book is a tangible reinforcer because it is a physical item that the child receives as a reward, which increases the child's motivation to complete chores in order to receive more books. Mock Exam 10. When a student answers a question correctly in class, the teacher often claps and cheers along with the rest of the class, making the student feel proud and motivated to participate more. What type of reinforcer is the teacher's clapping and cheering? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 4. Social reinforcer. The clapping and cheering by the teacher and classmates is a social reinforcer because it involves social acknowledgement and approval, which reinforces the student's behavior of participating actively in class. Mock Exam 11. A physical therapist uses music during session exercises with a patient. The patient finds the music soothing and is more willing to complete their exercises when the music is playing. What type of reinforcer is the music in this scenario? 1. Aidable reinforcer. 2. Sensory reinforcer. 3. Tangible reinforcer. 4. Social reinforcer. Correct answer is 2. Sensory reinforcer. The music is a sensory reinforcer because it enhances the sensory experience of the therapy sessions, making the exercises more enjoyable and encouraging the patient to participate more fully. These mock exams help differentiate between types of reinforcers based on their nature and how they are used to increase desired behaviors in various contexts. Mock Exam 12. How does the Premack Principle apply in behavioral conditioning? 1. It states that a less preferred behavior can reinforce a more preferred behavior if the more preferred behavior occurs first. 2. It suggests that a more probable behavior can be used to reinforce a less probable behavior by allowing access to the more probable behavior after the less probable one is performed. 3. It involves providing reinforcement after random intervals of behavior regardless of the type of behavior. 4. It asserts that for a behavior to be used as a reinforcer, it must always be a tangible reward. Correct answer is 2. It suggests that a more probable behavior can be used to reinforce a less probable behavior by allowing access to the more probable behavior after the less probable one is performed. The Premack principle operates on the idea that more likely or preferred activities, high-frequency behaviors, can serve as reinforcers for less likely or less preferred activities. Low-frequency behaviors, when access to the preferred activity is contingent upon performing the less preferred activity. Mock Exam 13. What does the response-deprivation hypothesis predict about behavioral reinforcement? 1. It suggests that a behavior becomes reinforcing when it is offered as a reward for another behavior. 2. It predicts that access to a behavior that occurs more frequently than baseline can function as reinforcement for another behavior. 3. It states that restricting access to a behavior below its baseline level makes access to that behavior reinforcing when it is used as a contingent reward for another behavior. 4. It indicates that all behaviors can serve as reinforcers if they are sufficiently restricted. Correct answer is 3. It states that restricting access to a behavior below its baseline level makes access to that behavior reinforcing when it is used as a contingent reward for another behavior. The response-deprivation hypothesis focuses on the concept that a behavior can become reinforcing if its frequency is restricted to below its natural baseline level, and then used as a contingent reward for performing another target behavior. Mock Exam 14. Which example best illustrates the application of the Premack principle? 1. A student must complete their homework before they can play video games. 2. A teacher gives out stickers randomly to encourage participation. 3. A child is allowed to eat dessert before dinner as a reward for good behavior. 4. A dog receives a treat every time it sits on command. Correct answer is 1. A student must complete their homework before they can play video games. This scenario directly applies the Premack principle by using a high-frequency behavior, playing video games as a reinforcer for a less frequent behavior, completing homework with access to video games contingent on homework completion. Mock Exam 15. Which scenario is an example of the response-deprivation hypothesis in action? 1. A dog is trained to sit by getting a treat each time it performs the behavior. 2. A student is allowed to use the school computer only after finishing their science project, a task they are usually less interested in. 3. An employee receives a bonus at the end of the year regardless of individual performance. 4. A basketball player practices free throws without any additional rewards or changes to routine. Correct answer is 2. A student is allowed to use the school computer only after finishing their science project, a task they are usually less interested in. This example fits the response-deprivation hypothesis because it restricts access to a preferred activity using the computer, which might normally be more frequent to below its baseline level, and makes it contingent on completing a less preferred task science project, thereby reinforcing the less preferred activity. Thank you for watching our deep dive into the fascinating world of behavioral psychology and reinforcement principles. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about how behaviors can be shaped and influenced, don't forget to hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to our channel for more insightful content like this. Share your thoughts or questions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.